Hey babes,
I'm Madeline.
and I'm Deja.
And welcome back to the Elegance Exchange.
Today we're going to be talking about the elegance of emotions.
Alright, so we actually did a little questionnaire, or not questionnaire, but we proposed a question, I guess, on Instagram for some possible episodes that you guys wanted. And so we got a response, and it said how to take care of yourself and heal before taking care of others. So we really thought that was a good idea. And we are still working on the other questions as well. Trust. Don't worry.
And I feel like with that one, like, even as an adult, like, no matter how old you are, it's still going to relate to you.
Right, exactly. Because, I mean, when you have kids, you know, you want to prioritize them. Or whatever you have.
Or when you have friends and, like, your friends want you to be there for them, but you're not there for yourself yet.
Absolutely. So, I mean, I feel like this is a learning curve for everybody. And, you know, I think we all have points in our lives where we're going through something and we really want to take care of others, but we know that we're not in a good place and we need to take care of ourselves first.
And then you get overwhelmed too because you want to go and help them, but you just feel useless because you're not at the state that you should be in.
Yeah, and I mean, that was definitely me last year, but I've grown out of that. But it's still something that I think everybody struggles with occasionally.
I know my friend, she would tell me, I always got onto her for it, and she'd be like, well, I'm trying to help all these people, but I'm so stressed. And I'm like, so then why are you helping people?
Yeah,
like,
because
you need to focus on yourself.
Right. So I think one of the main things is preventing, you know, bottling up your emotions. Because when we bottle up our emotions, you know, you're more likely to blow up on people.
Yes, you are.
And I think it was it last episode, I talked about, you know, where if you don't communicate, then you're just going to blow up and you don't want to yell at people.
And that's why I always step out. I step out and I let myself collect my thoughts, and then when I'm ready, I will go and open up about it.
But the best way to prevent those bottled emotions is to talk about them when you feel it. So if somebody is being rude or you don't like a comment that they made, be like, hey, like, I didn't really appreciate that. Could we word it differently? Or could we just, you know, not say that? Like, because it bothered me.
Right.
And if they're truly somebody who values you. Sorry, guys, that scared me. Are you being too loud?
No, I think they're leaving.
Okay, sorry, guys. But if, you know, they truly value you and they truly value your emotions, they're not going to get upset by that. Okay? And if they do, then leave them. You know, that's not somebody you want to be around. What else do you have to say for emotions? Like, bottling it up?
Just, like, especially if you have, like, really, really bad temper, like I do, like, when you're already upset and more things are making you even more upset, it just continues to add to the pile, and then you eventually crumble, and you say things that you'll regret because you're not thinking. So you can't prevent it. And I learned that growing up, like, you have to talk it out with someone. It can be your mom, it can be your friend, it can be your boyfriend, it could literally be your cat. You could literally rant to your cat or something, and you just need to get a way of
healthfully, like, just
without lashing it on someone else.
Yeah, and I mean, that kind of brings us into our next point. Okay, so there's lots of mindfulness methods that you can take if you just feel like, even after you've talked to somebody, or maybe you don't want to talk to somebody because maybe it's not a them problem, it's just, you know, you're too stressed, or, you know, you just don't feel like talking right now.
And we all get that way.
Yeah.
Like, I'm especially like that. Like, if I'm stressed, if I'm upset, I don't talk to people. I kind of just let my...
Exactly. So, I think journaling is something that that has changed my life.
I love journaling.
And I know you guys are probably listening to this and you're like, okay, we hear about journaling all the time and blah, 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 and how you have to stick with it consistently. No. I don't journal every day. I should, but I don't.
I don't either.
I try to, but I don't. Okay? I don't put that pressure on myself, because if I'm not feeling like it, then I know I'm not going to really write anything productive down or anything that's really helping me down.
And so many people recommend journaling. And I like Madeline said, like, you hear it everywhere. I listen to my podcast and it's always journal. Yeah. And it's like you kind of get sick of hearing the word journal. But it's recommended so much because it actually works. Like, once you write it out, you just feel like a weight off your shoulder. Like, you just feel relieved.
And I mean, you know, I think not putting that pressure on yourself to constantly journal or to constantly, you know, or I am very much the type of person, whenever I start something brand new, I want to have everything laid out. I want to know exactly what I'm doing. I want to have a schedule. I want to have...
Like a layout?
The exact pins that I'm going to use. Like, I go psycho, okay? But with journaling, I really just let myself kind of chill. Like, I just decided, okay, whatever I write in this book, nobody's going to see it except for me. Nobody's going to judge it. So it doesn't need to be perfect.
And that's why I like it. Like, even in middle school, like, I had a bunch of sketchy friends, so I just learned that, like, to journal, like, I trusted it. Like, it was like I'm talking to someone, I'm ranting it out, but like
they can't go anywhere.
They can't use it against me. Like, no one else knows about it besides me and the pages I write it on. And
I also think that not knowing what you want is a big part of it. So journaling really helps with that, because for me, I like to journal out what I want or clarify what I want. So say you're fighting with somebody and you don't, like, you can't put the words together in your brain, or you're not exactly sure what you want, just writing out, like, what you want them to say. Or I like to do something where you write, like, say, okay, today's November 14th, or whatever day it is, okay? So say I'm talking to them tomorrow. I'm going to write, like, it is November 15th at 8 p.m. after I've talked to them. So I'm writing in, like, present tense of November 15th, okay? And I'm like, oh, I talked to Deja today about some kind of issue, okay, and she said this, this, and this, and I really appreciated how she said this, this, and this, and it made me feel this, this, and this. And I communicated this, this, and this. Because then you're writing down what you want your conversation to be, and you're writing it down in present tense. So you're less likely to freak out and think of all of the negative things that could happen.
Oh, yes. Because you're so quick to think of, like, oh, what if she did, like, what if she says this? What if she gets mad? What if she feels this way? What if she thinks I offended her?
Literally, she asked today, do you mind if I use this?
Go for it.
Okay, she asked today, she was like, oh, could I do, the part where we introduced the episode? And I was like, oh yeah, like, absolutely. But you were kind of worried to ask me that because she was afraid that I was going to be all, like, upset about it. And so I think even to the people that we're closest to, we just kind of jumped to the conclusion that, like, oh, they're going to take it the wrong way, or, oh, like...
Yeah, like, they're going to get upset.
Yeah, and it's not... Usually that's not the case, or at least that's not how it is with us.
And it shouldn't be the way with the people you're surrounding yourself with, too.
It shouldn't be that way, but, reading self-help is also something that I love, literally.
If anything...
Deja is borrowing one of my books that I love right now. Do you have it out?
I do.
Actually,
if anything, Madeline, like she said, Madeline actually gave me...
Sorry.
A self-help book as well. Because I was like,
I carry this on me, and she carries that on her now.
So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna start a self-help book. I'm like really reading it. It's like it's inspiring. Like you see it, and like it almost gives you like a new way of thinking. Like looking at it, and you're like, wait, maybe I should break those habits.
Well, and the thing about a lot of these authors that write self-help books, okay, and now granted you have to find the right one, because there's been some that I've like started in an audiobook. And I just wonder what the heck they're talking about.
Right? Like, what is this hocus pocus?
Yeah, but I think finding the right author and then finding somebody who really... Sorry guys, the audio is going to be all over the place today. But I think finding an author that you can just connect with. So Atomic Habits, he was writing about a bunch of things that I was noticing that I was doing too. And he was talking about how he broke those habits and the psychology behind breaking those habits. And that just connected with me because I was like, okay, well, if somebody can transform their life, I can transform mine.
Yeah.
So self-help also makes you kind of self-aware because you're starting to realize the tendencies that you do. And it also helps you realize other people's tendencies. And so you're less likely to be like, well, why are they doing this to me? Like, this is just awful, Like I said, it just gives you, like, a new way to look at things. And that's why I really like it. Because you don't realize what you're doing until, like, you read about it and you're like, oh. And it's, like, that psychology behind it. And it's just like, wow, okay, I didn't know I could... Like, I didn't know it was like that. Yeah. And, I mean, just taking a second alone, too. If you were noticing that you were just getting so overwhelmed being around people... Take a step away, okay? And I don't necessarily mean just leaving the room. I mean, go on that solo day,
Go on a walk outside.
Go on a walk.
Go to the gym.
Yeah, go do something that you love. So, like, for me, I go hiking, okay? Like, if I'm going through something where my emotions are just a mess, or like I feel like I'm just taking things out on people, or I'm not giving myself enough, effort and energy, I go on a hike. Because it's just me and nature. Nobody else is there. And I know that sounds so like granola and like tree hugger and whatnot. So be it. I don't care. But just, take that second to be alone, to go do something that you love. If you love shopping, go shopping.
I know, and I love like
retail therapy. Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty simple. I clean. I listen to something, I put on my favorite album, and I put on my headphones, and I just go and clean. I'll be cleaning for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
But it really does, like, it calms me down, it empties my mind, like I'm just focused on cleaning and what I'm listening to.
Right. And I mean, like you mentioned, go to the gym. Okay, so personally for me, okay, I don't like the gym environment.
I do. I think it's like a jungle gym. I think it's fun. I think it's a way just to like relieve stress without taking it out on anyone. Like I just go and sweat it all off.
That's true. That's true. I don't know. I always just panic that people are judging me, and I'm a diehard perfectionist. Like, I like knowing what I'm doing, and at the gym, I don't feel like I know what I'm doing.
But at the gym, you also have to realize you have to. Yeah, no. Everyone is so focused on their own goals. They are not gonna look at you and be like, "I can tell she's new."
And if they are, then that's their own issue, because everybody starts out somewhere.
Really.
But that's besides the point. But like I was saying, I don't like the gym. So what I do is I do either Pilates, okay? And so you can go do that at a studio. And usually the class sizes aren't that big if you're going to a local studio. Mm-hmm. They're like 6 people max.
Or if you're going for like a cheaper alternative, you can just go on YouTube. There's so many videos on YouTube.
Literally
on everything.
Every single night. I do Pilates or I do yoga, okay? And even if I don't go to a studio or whatnot, like I do it online and I do it in the comfort of my house, and it makes me happy. Genuinely, yoga, okay. Yoga zens me out, okay? Like I will literally just sit there afterwards, and and it depends on the person.
It does depend on the person.
I will sit there and I'll just be so calm. Like I do it right before bed because it gets my mind off of everything. Like if my body's sore, it like gets rid of some of that soreness. It just helps me calm down. Now Pilates, that's more of a morning thing, because that you're like going and you're fighting for your life. But yoga, I'm still fighting for my life, but still. It's just more calm. So really just finding something that you love. Like running, you can do that too.
I even like meditating. I know it's not really exercise, but it really does.
No, it's mental exercise.
Yeah, like it clears your mind. Like just imagining your headspace, like imagining clearing your head and just like focusing on nothing but like how you feel and like your breathing is so like you're probably listening to this and you're like, ooh, like meditation. But like I'm the same way. Like if you just look on YouTube and look for like a 5-minute meditation session, like the feeling you get afterwards is crazy.
It does not have to be long, okay? That's something that I struggle with, because I'll constantly want to do like a 40-minute workout or an hour, workout. And I just have to realize that sometimes that's not realistic. Sometimes I don't feel good. Sometimes, my mental state is not good. So I make myself do at least 10 minutes. And if I'm not feeling it after 10 minutes, I go to bed. That's it. Don't put so much pressure on yourself where the things that are supposed to be helping you become counterproductive.
Exactly.
And then, just prioritize yourself. At the end of the day, you are the only person that you truly have. You are the only person that understands you.
And you can't, like we said earlier, you cannot help someone and give them your 100% if you are at your lowest at the moment.
Like, that's just not how it works,
Right? So, like, for example, like, if a doctor is sick and you're sick, you can't go to the doctor and expect him to be like, oh, like, hey, I need you to help me. If the doctor is sick, like, the doctor needs to cure himself first, and then he will go and help you. But you can't expect them to help you if they're not good. And if
that was good, Tasha. That was good.
Thank you. And if they're not, and if you can tell like your friend isn't doing good, you can always reach out. You can be like, hey, I'm always like, let them know like, hey, I'm always here if you need me. If you need to talk to someone, I'm always here.
Yeah.
But you just at the end of the day, you do need to prioritize yourself.
Therapy. Go to therapy. I know some people frown upon it, okay, and some people think that it's silly and it's just a sign of weakness if you go to therapy. It's not. It's a sign of strength. If you can identify that, like, oh, I need some help, I need somebody to just talk to in a stress-free environment where they're going to help me, that is so self-aware. That's being mentally strong and mentally capable.
And I know, like, with my, my mom's actually signing me up and my siblings up for therapy because she thinks that we need someone to talk to.
Yeah.
And, you know, she's like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, there's nothing wrong with going to therapy. There's nothing wrong with telling someone because, you know, it's not going to go anywhere. So
right, exactly.
She's very heavy on, like, because even then I'm the same way. I'm like, therapy? I'm like, I don't need to go to therapy. But, you know, she's like, no, like, you can't bottle these emotions up.
Yeah.
You can't hold them in you for long. So it's good to finally talk it out.
And I know for some people, you know, their parents are not as amazing as yours where they will let you go to therapy.
Mm-hmm.
So if you find that being a problem, there's a bunch of online platforms where you can call a therapist for free and talk to somebody online for free. And I know that sounds kind of silly because I'm kind of the same way. Like, I like having somebody physically in front of me to build that connection. But at the end of the day, if you're really struggling and if you really, you know, need somebody to talk to, that's your best option, and it's better than nothing. Because I know not all parents are super accepting,
supportive,
and willing. Yeah, because they don't want to admit that, like, you're human and that you have emotions and that you need to talk to.
And they'll hit you with the you're just being dramatic, or you just need to
don't listen to that.
You're trying to find a reason to complain about stuff.
Just don't listen to that. Know that it's completely normal and it's completely normal to want to prioritize your mental health and yourself. And like Daisha said, you know, you can't help somebody if you're in a bad state of mind either. It just doesn't work like that. Because then their problems build onto you.
Exactly. And that's another thing. Like, their problems just end up being your problems in the end because you don't...
Because you're so stressed about it.
Exactly. And you're like, oh, I want to help your friend, but, like, you can't help yourself. Like, going back to my friend in middle school, like, I could not stand when she would complain about how tired she was of helping other people because she was exhausted. And I was like, well, how are you helping other people if you're not even helping yourself? I'm like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and I mean, too, if, like, somebody's complaining to you and you're already in a bad mental state and you're already upset, like, you're going to listen to their complaints and be like, oh my god, that's so stupid. Because you're already upset.
That's right, and then that's when the comparison comes in, too. Because, like, oh my gosh, she's
healthy.
Yeah, and then you're like, oh my gosh, like, she's complaining about this, but then I have all this stuff happening at home.
And then you resent them. And it's like, okay, well, that's your friend, you know.
That's a very good point. I didn't even think about how that was connected.
Sometimes I can think of things, believe it or not, occasionally. But, I mean, yeah, just really, you know, understand that it's okay to step away, and it's okay not to solve everybody else's problems before you solve yours. You know, you, at the end of the day, you are not a therapist, okay? And
that is true.
You are totally allowed to recommend somebody, go see a therapist. Now, don't be like, oh my god, you need a therapist. No. But, like, at the end of the day, yes, you are their friend. Or maybe you're not. Maybe you're their captain or your coach or, you know, whatever. But at the end of the day, you can't take care of everybody. It's not your job.
Exactly. And you really just need it. You really, really, really need to just focus on yourself. And, like, you can't feel bad about it because at the end of the day, it's your life. Like, it's your actions and your feelings that...
You don't want to be miserable every day.
Exactly. So, you know, it's very, very big. And everyone struggles with it. No matter the age, no matter who, like, everyone.
We rant to each other all the time. We're like, oh my gosh.
Everyone.
Yeah.
You're only human. Like, there's going to be so much stuff that does end up getting to you. And there's only so much stuff that you can handle inside. And, you know, there's only so much you can do about it.
Exactly. So really just prioritize yourself. And just know that it's okay to put other people aside for a minute just to take care of yourself.
That does not make you a bad person.
No.
That does not make you unreliable. It makes you very strong, if anything.
Yeah, exactly, because you're self-aware. And that's something that I, you know, preach all the time. You gotta be aware. So, I don't know, is there anything else you gotta add?
No.
Alright, guys. So, we are on TikTok and Instagram, and if you're watching this on Spotify, we are also on YouTube, where you can see the video version of this. Eventually, we'll get the video up on Spotify as well, but that'll be time.
In the future.
That'll be after a little while. So, and it's all just the _Elegance exchange. Yeah, except for YouTube. It's just the Elegance exchange. But make sure you go follow us there. We come out with some funny TikToks and Instagram reels
just get to know us more outside
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, make sure you tune in. Love y'all.
Bye, babes.